Good morning, agents, and welcome back to, well, not so much the normal videos, but I thought I'd do some theory crafting with you today. As I've been thinking a lot about, since my attempt at an AP generator, a field generator, I've been thinking a lot about how it works and how it might not work so much. So we're going to do a little bit of thinking here on this map, and I'm going to tell you about how the generators work in theory, and then I'm going to tell you about how I would think I'm going to do things going forward when it comes to seeking AP. So generator, an AP generator, if you think about it, is largely a matter of finding a few portals that you can link together to form a big field. Let's do this one actually. And then reusing two of the anchors to do more fields until you run out. And then the idea is you take this anchor and you either Jarvis it or you use a battle beacon to destroy the links and allow you to rethrow it. And usually these are linked up as well, like so. So in each case, you're creating, with every key, you're creating you're creating a big field first, and then you're splitting fields as you go back up the spine. So in this case, you would do one big field, two more for 3, two more for 5, two more for 7, and you're doing that pretty efficiently, and you can do it with a battle beacon, with a very rare battle beacon, multiple times. However, as I demonstrated in my video a few days ago, when you have an enlightened player who sees you building a layered field and is like, I don't think that should exist, then none of this matters, because he's just going to come and destroy it, and you will not be able to generate any AP, except for maybe the initial setup AP, which I did get a fair bit, but still. The point is, this is not going to work if you have active enlightened agents. The other problems with it, I will say, that I see are it's a waste of SoftBank Ultra Links, and it's a waste of very rare battle beacons if you're using those. SoftBank Ultra Links are very useful in cases of big fields where you have to link a long distance, longer distance than a normal link amp would allow you to, or indeed if you're doing something like this but on a bigger scale, it allows you to throw big fields that are, many layers from one single anchor, and that is potentially useful. But in this case, all you're doing is using it to generate AP, which has its benefits, I will grant you. But it is, in my view, fairly wasteful, especially if, like me, you have an enlightened agent who simply comes along and destroys the SoftBank Ultra Links before you're able to use them to actually do what you're planning to do. So that is problematic. The other thing about the very rare battle beacons, you only get so many of those. They cost money, or you can get them from, certain rewards, or you can get them from a core subscription. I think maybe there are a couple of others that I can't quite remember. But the point is, very rare battle beacons are, in the name, very rare. It is difficult to get them, so it is worth using them economically. And I think in this case, you aren't using them economically. Certainly if you only have 4 layers, but imagine that you have more. And I think that the argument still holds, especially considering the fact that coming up in November and December, we will have an event that requires the use of battle beacons. So saving all of your battle beacons is probably what you want to do. So rather than thinking about the generator, let's start thinking about defensive links. In a defensive link situation, you're going to link up the portals in such a way that they create fields. As many fields as make sense. You want them to be maybe not necessarily equilateral, but you want to minimize the amount of portals with only 4 links. You want to maximize portals with 5 or 6. But most of the time, really, you just want to make sure that the links make some amount of sense, because as you're rebuilding them, if you are closer when you're at, so for example, when you're at this portal in the center and you need to throw links up to this portal and this portal, it makes more sense to do it if you are close to those portals and you can go and hack keys, or if you can hack keys to this one and go quickly to the other two. It minimizes the amount of distance you have to travel in order to rebuild your fields, which is a good thing. And also, in the other example, I think there are many portals that had 4 links going to them. In this example, almost every portal has more than that. And you get a nice web-looking kind of field set, and you just have a very pleasant time doing it. Almost done. Shouldn't have drawn so many dots, because I knew that my particular neurodivergence would require me to draw all the lines. Okay, so now we have this all set up. The question becomes, if this stands, it doesn't give you any AP, right? You are sitting here and you just have no AP, and that's not good. So what about if we took a bit of a strategy here and we allowed this portal to decay? We don't recharge it, we never have a key to it, we simply allow it to decay. Then, every 7 days or so, you get to throw 6 fields. And you only need to use 6 keys to do it. That's actually a savings on keys from the field generator. You have fewer keys to use in order to throw those 6 fields. Obviously, it's fewer fields, but if you also, for example, allowed this portal to decay on the same day, you would get to throw 5 more fields. And if you allowed, I don't know, a portal up in this top right to decay, you would be able to throw 6 more fields potentially. The point being, you can create opportunities for yourself to create fields without using a battle beacon, without using any viruses, and without using any SoftBank Ultra links, because all you're doing is throwing 6 links in the ideal case. So, in a bigger map, or no, sorry, going backwards, in this case, all you have to do is the day before, make sure you have keys to these 6 portals, which is presumably only 6 hacks worth of work. And then if you're doing this portal as well, then you have to make sure you have keys to these and an extra key to each of these in this example. So what I'm doing in my day-to-day play right now is something very similar, though I am tweaking it a little bit. What I'm doing is, let's say I let this, can't draw. Let's say I were to use this portal, let that decay. Okay, whatever, I can't draw, it's fine. Now all of these portals are being used for that decay. So I want to have 1 key to each of these on the first day, right? 3, 4, 5, that's 5 fields that we get to throw. But now I don't want to have keys to any of these again. I want to have 1 key to each of them and not have to worry about anything else. So what I would do is, instead of using this portal in the center, I would let this portal decay, and then I have to use these 5 portals here, and I get to throw 5 more fields. So you see what I'm going for here, is the idea is you only need to have 1 key to each of these on the day that everything decays, and then you don't have to worry about getting more keys than you need. You still get your AP, and you don't really have to use any gear. In fact, what you're doing is you're saving on power cubes, because you don't have to recharge these central portals ever. And you can do this for more than 1 day. So if on day 1 I'm letting these 2 decay, then on another day I can let this one decay, and then maybe this one, and imagine that this field set extends further down south here, and maybe even this one up in the top right, which you can't see because my camera's in the way. But these 2 aren't touching any of the portals that this one's touching. So, except for this one. Well, okay, bad example. But the point is, you can sort of selectively allow different portals to decay on different days, and make sure that it's an amount of portals that you can get to in a day fairly easily. And then once you've rethrown the links to, say, this one, you just go and grab keys to all of the portals that touch this portal that you're letting decay on the second day. So you're doing all of these on the second day. So you're rethrowing here, and then you go and do a loop around all of these portals to get keys, and then you're ready for the second day, right? So every single day, you're having multiple portals decay, you're rethrowing those fields, you're preparing for the next day to get keys. I think this is a more sustainable option. Now, one major weakness with this strategy, if you're letting this central portal decay here, what kind of mods are you putting on it? Probably common portal shields, maybe link amps even, like stuff you want to throw away. Now, that is to some extent a benefit. It means that you can use some of those worse mods and not have to worry about whether they're useful or not, because you want that portal to die anyways. But the only downside, potentially, is that it means the portal dies before you want it to, but all that really means is you let it sit there until you're ready to rethrow it, unless you absolutely have to go and rethrow it that day for defensive purposes, but you have all these other portals for defensive purposes. So if it's something that's in the middle of your fields, you shouldn't have to worry about defense, right? So I'm not too worried about that, but it does mean if you've already got good mods on the central portal, possibly it's going to hurt a little bit to let it decay. And there's nothing that I can do to avoid that. Certainly in my case, I've put very rare shields on some of my portals. Some of those might simply decay away, but it's okay. I am okay with that. I can hack more very, very rare shields. And honestly, with an anomaly coming up, I'm thinking about getting rid of a lot of them anyway. So I need to dump them somewhere. They might as well just disappear. And I can put more VR shields somewhere else. Now, I will say this isn't the only thing I'm planning on doing, right? Today, I did a bit of cleanup in the field, so that's partly why I'm doing this video, because I didn't do anything interesting in Ingress today. So it is largely a day without footage. The other reason is it's going to rain around lunchtime, so I know I'm not going to get as much chance to get out and play as I usually do. But you can still, if you're doing something like this, if you're strategizing about where your fields are going to decay and where you can rethrow them, if you have extra time left in the day, you can still go and expand your fields, and then maybe you can plan to do more in a day. So for example, if you have this field set and you're letting this decay each week, then maybe you have a lot of extra time and you can go and build links up to the top here and add more fields up here, and then maybe you can let something up this direction decay on the same day as you usually have this central one decay. And then it's just a matter of syncing things up so that everything decays kind of at the right time and you can rethrow it correctly. You're probably going to see, time creep a little bit, because once it decays, you have to wait a little bit to go out and do it, to rethrow the fields. So if it decays at 9 a.m. and you don't get out to rethrow it until 10 a.m., then the next week it's gonna decay at 10 a.m. and so on and so forth. You're gonna have to let things kind of settle. But once you have it all synchronized, maybe you have to wait overnight once or twice to let things kind of sync up. Once you have it all synchronized, it should run pretty well for at least a little while, because you'll have the pattern down. You'll go out at 9 a.m. or so, and you'll do this portal, then you'll do this portal, then you'll do this portal, or whatever it is. And those will all start to become, synchronized, and you'll get into the pattern of doing it at the same time every day. And that'll be positive. So I don't know. This is just kind of a theory crafting video. I'm just I'm sort of spitballing because I'm starting to experiment with this, but it's something that's going to take a week, obviously, for me to see any results. So I'm not sure what to think about it yet. I'm not sure how effective it's going to be. And I'd love to hear what your opinions are on this idea. Obviously, the big thing for me is going to be to continue to build and expand my fields. If I continue to build and expand, then I have more options for what I want to do with this, as well as I simply get more AP from building additional fields out from where I'm currently sitting. So I think there's probably something to say about just sticking to that and continuing on with it, as opposed to trying to do anything crazy with this sort of slightly convoluted strategy for getting more AP. But I do think this has merit, and I just wanted to see what people thought. So I think that's it from me. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button. If you want to see more, please click the subscribe button. And if you want to support my channel financially, please click the link in the description for my Patreon. There are a few people already supporting me there, but we would love it if you joined us. Right now, my supporters' names are Zach Nelson, BigBadaBoom, Minnesota Resistance, and Teri Lynn. Thank you all so much for the help. And by the way, if any of this made any sense to you or didn't, please do let me know in the comments. I am seeking some feedback as well as a potential name. I'm thinking something like Decay Generator or Defensive Generator. I think probably Decay Generator is already taken, but Defensive Generator feels right to me. So let me know what you think in the comments. And other than that, check the link in the description as well for a link to my my gaming channel, where I am releasing daily videos about other video games, not just Ingress. And I'd very much appreciate your support there as well. I think that's all of the things I needed to say. Again, thank you for watching. This is just kind of an idea that I had in my head, and I figured I would put it out in the world and see what came of it. So thank you. And agents, I will see you tomorrow for another normal gameplay video, because I've come up with my theory for the week, so there's no reason for me to do more theory crafting. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.